Today, Sven will be explaining Taken, a 2008 action-packed thriller movie, follows Bryan, a retired CIA operative, his daughter, Kim, his ex-wife, Lenore. The story begins when Kim went to Paris with her friend, her first international vacation. Takes a terrifying turn when human traffickers knock on her door, attempting to kidnap her. She hides in the bathroom, frantically calling her father, witnessing her friend being taken, realizing she's next. Her father, sensing the gravity of the situation, quickly connects a recorder and tells her to hide under the bed. He warns her that she'll be captured, but in those crucial 5 seconds, she must focus and remember the kidnapper's features: hair color, height, scars, anything she can see, and shout it out loud. Suddenly, the kidnappers enter the room. Hearing his daughter's terrified screams, Bryan feels his heart shatter, but soon the line goes quiet. He knows the phone is now in the kidnappers' hands. He warns them that if they don't release his daughter, he'll hunt them down no matter where they hide. On the other end, there's only a dismissive laugh, followed by the call disconnecting. Panic-stricken over his daughter's abduction, Bryan contacts an old friend, a former agent, to analyze the recording. Bryan himself was once a national operative, but his long absences strained his marriage. His wife eventually left, taking their daughter with her, and Bryan watched her grow up through photos. Now, his daughter's first trip has ended in disaster. His friend identifies the kidnappers as part of a gang that traffics women. They target young female tourists at airports, using charming men to lure them and find out their hotel addresses before abducting them. According to the gang's pattern, Bryan only has 96 hours to find his daughter, or she'll disappear forever. The clock is ticking. Bryan rushes to Paris, replaying the kidnapper's voice recording, determined to recognize him instantly if he hears it again. Upon arriving, he heads to the apartment where his daughter was taken. The kidnappers left almost no trace, even smashing her phone, but luckily, the SD card is intact. Restoring its data, he finds a clue in a reflection from a photo, revealing the man who flirted with his daughter at the airport. Bryan goes to the airport, spotting the same man now chatting with another unsuspecting girl. Bryan grabs him, slams his head into a taxi, and demands answers about his daughter. The guy's accomplice arrives, but they are no match for Bryan's years of training. After a brief struggle, the man escapes, leaping off a bridge, only to be hit by an oncoming truck, killing him instantly. The only lead is gone. Determined to keep going, Bryan finds an old war buddy in Paris who provides a lead. He goes to a hotel known for streetwalkers, picking a fight with one to anger the men watching over her. When they grab him, he secretly plants a listening device. Listening in, he learns they're headed to a construction site. Bryan follows them to the gang's hideout. Disguised as a buyer, he enters the dark, cramped rooms where drugged women lie in a haze. Desperately, he searches each corner until he spots a familiar jacket. His daughter's. Rushing in, he knocks out the client, but the girl wearing the jacket isn't his daughter. Barely coherent, she remembers a name, Daffy. Bryan decides to rescue her, but a thug discovers him. Bryan grabs a cloth, choking the thug into unconsciousness, but the commotion draws more. He fights his way out, punching and kicking through attackers, carrying the girl to his car. A chaotic shootout ensues as he drives off, triggering an explosion that covers his escape. The girl finally regains consciousness after being treated, revealing she was taken to a red door house where she saw Bryan's daughter. With this crucial clue, Bryan heads to the traffickers' stronghold. He knows the gang is backed by corrupt officials, so he pretends to be a dirty cop, demanding protection money from the gang leader. He enters their hideout, projecting authority and even orders coffee. The gang buys his story, and when he casually asks one man to translate something, he hears the voice from the phone, the kidnapper. Bryan springs into action, swiftly taking down the thugs with a knife and gunfire, cleaning out the gang's den. Racing upstairs, he searches for his daughter but only finds her friend, who is overdosed. Rage takes over, and Bryan tortures a thug for answers, driving metal rods into his legs and shocking him with electricity until he reveals Bryan's daughter has been sold to a wealthy buyer. Before leaving, Bryan executes the man. Bryan sneaks into the auction, disguised as a waiter, and sees his daughter being sold as the final lot. He forces a rich bidder to buy her. After the transaction, as they exit, Bryan is ambushed and knocked out. He wakes up, hands chained, facing the traffickers. Begging for his daughter's release, he's met with cold indifference. Sorry, no refunds. The order to kill him is given, but Bryan fights back, breaking free and eliminating his captors one by one. He finds the auctioneer and forces him at gunpoint to reveal his daughter's location. She's on a yacht, being sold to a wealthy client. Bryan executes the man and heads to the boat. On board, he stealthily takes down the guards before facing the final showdown. His daughter is held at knife point by the wealthy buyer. Ignoring the man's demands, Bryan takes a single shot, ending it all. He embraces his daughter, telling her, "I told you I would come." This is a father's unbreakable, relentless love.